Some MPs demand more than just the arrest of the former sanitation minister.
So it's not just about arresting her, but Ghanaians expect agility from the special prosecutor so that we know the source of the money. Because we are in need. The country is broke. And so, yes, we want to know the source of the money. Everything is our money. It should be made available to us, retrieved with interest.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Vodafone. Investigators are tonight busy at work searching the home of former sanitation minister Cecilia Dapaah, who resigned on Saturday. After it emerged, she had stashed $1 million and several bundles of other currencies in her house. She was arrested today and together with her husband were interrogated for hours by the special prosecutor. The monies came to light in court documents filed by state prosecutors who were prosecuting Cecilia Dapaah's house helps for allegedly stealing the amount. Now, as the story develops, we are covering it from multiple angles tonight. Carlos Kaloni will join me shortly from the Sanitation Ministry. Kweku Asante will join me from Parliament. Samuel Mbura will join from the MPP headquarters. But now let's cross over to Elton Brobe, who has been stationed at the Office of Special Prosecutor and watched as Madam Cecilia Dapaah was driven away under heavy police escort to her home, where a search has been underway. Elton joins me right now via Zoom. Elton, we've been learning a lot tonight. What are your sources telling you about how the interrogation went?
So, Evans, what we know is that it lasted close to 5 hours. She was picked up, and then the interrogation started before 11 a.m. and then finished before 4 p.m. today. So close to 5 hours, they interrogated her. She was there in the presence of the husband and, of course, her lawyers. And she led in terms of answering the questions that were posed by investigators working on behalf of the special prosecutor. So this lasted close to 5 hours. Currently, as I speak to you, the officers from the OSP, that's the Office of the Special Prosecutor, currently at the Abelempe home of the former minister, place now designated crime scene because the theft took place in this residence. So they are here to search the compound. Before coming to Abelempe, they stopped at the official residence at cantonment. This is where she used while serving as Minister for Water Resources and Sanitation. It's unclear whether she's moved out. But that was the first port of call before now currently at the Abelempe home of the former minister, where they are undertaking a search of the property. Now, some of the things that came up during the interrogation, as I picked from my source at the Office of the Special Prosecutor, had to do with what the money, who the money is for, and how come the money was stashed in the residence of the former minister. Now, I'm told that issues about funeral donation came up. There was also the suggestion that the money may not be hers and that it may belong to someone else, which prompted the question who. So the information I picked from the office of the OSP is that opened another avenue where the OSP may now have to expand the interrogation to include some close family members.
And Elton, this relates to the funeral donation theory.
Exactly. In fact, we were told over the weekend by the municipal chief executive for Gawes that the money may have been donation that the minister received whilst undertaking the final funeral rites of a late mother. And so my information is that aspect came up. How much is involved as far as the amount in question is concerned? They are still getting more clarity on the matter, and also whether the sum that is now a matter of investigation by the police and the OSP, whether all of them belong to the minister or some belong to some family members. And that is where my source is telling me that is now providing grounds for them to open the investigation to include some other close family members of the former minister.
And tell us about what you saw as far as her husband is concerned, because you've been there all day watching this unfold.
Right, Evan. So from what I've been told today, the focus was on the minister, Madam Cecilia Abnadapa, even though the husband was also at the office of the special prosecutor. My information is that he was not brought in for questioning, and for that reason, no question was asked of him. Everything was focused on the former minister, but they have not ruled out the involvement of the husband in their investigation, meaning that when they are so minded, they may go into him as well. But now that they have introduced the element of expanding it to cover some family members, the possibility of also placing the husband under arrest is also a possibility going forward. But for now, they say that it is only the former minister, Abnadapa, who is under arrest and her compound being searched.
And you witnessed the way she was brought in and the way she was escorted. And from what I saw on television, you captured this live. This was a pretty heavy police operation, multiple vehicles escorting her vehicle.
You've had multiple vehicles, multiple military and police personnel, together with investigators working for the special prosecutor. In fact, the convoy that left the compound, I counted about 6 vehicles, including a private vehicle. I'm told that's the vehicle the former minister and her husband sat in when they left the offices of the special prosecutor, first to cantonment and now at Abelempe. So these officers, per my information, are trained in terms of how they conduct some of these searches in crime, scene, and that's the reason why they've been deployed to undertake this particular exercise. Now, the OSP says that they're taking a serious view of this, because apart from the fact that the law mandates them to undertake such an exercise without relying on the formal petition, from Friday when the news broke, and then the subsequent statement from the minister, and then the resignation, the acceptance, and the formal letter from President Akufo-Addo to the minister, they have been inundated with emails from cross-section of the public asking that they go into this matter. And when they got to the office this morning, they found loads of envelopes, all communicating one thing, that the OSP should take an interest in this matter. And so even before they will exercise their right to do so without a petition, they see the interest that is coming from the public, and that is how come they've been very swift in this matter.
Thank you very much, Elton, reporting us live there from the office of the special prosecutor, where he's been stationed all day, following for us the interrogation of Madame Cecilia Dapan. If you're just joining us, her multiple homes, now 2 homes to be very precise, are now being searched as we speak by investigators from the office of the special prosecutor. We've been learning a bit more about this, including the expansion of the probe to include some of her family relations. Now, I want to take you to the premises of the Sanitation Water Resources Ministry, where my colleague Carlos Coloni has been stationed for us, engaging some of the workers there, considering, Carlos, that today is the first working day since Madame Cecilia Dapan resigned on Saturday. You've been interacting with the staff. How are they reacting to the news?
So, Evans, I will divide the reactions into 3. So there's a first group that believes that the public and the media has been too harsh on the former minister. Their opinion is that she should have been given the chance to explain herself, but mounting pressure on her to resign ahead of the outcome of investigations into the matter was totally unfair. Now, then there's a second group. They are those who appeared indifferent to the entire scandal. To them, it is just one of those things that happen with politicians. And so they believe nothing concrete will come out of the ongoing investigation. In fact, one of them even told me the whole investigation is being staged. So that is the second group, and that's how they've been reacting. The third group, they are of the opinion that the minister should be taken through all laid down procedure in terms of investigations for her conduct. So they say they want a speedy outcome of the matter since the issue has been in court for some time. They actually do not know what else is being investigated. So, Evans, there are those who support her, there are those who are indifferent, and there are those who are calling for her prosecution at the ministry. So, some even said they expect the court to sit on her case on daily basis. So that have been their reactions so far.
So that's a view from those who work with her directly, but there have been other ordinary members of the public who've come to the ministry to do business who have a view on what is happening also.
So I should say that many Ghanaians actually have declined speaking on the matter publicly, especially the civil servants at the ministry. But those who gathered the courage to speak on condition of anonymity say the money in question is huge and is questionable. And so they believe this will further erode the trust Ghanaians have for politicians in the country. So we can take a listen to what they've been telling me.
It's serious, because if she really had this amount of money in her house, then it's crazy. Because there are a lot of us out there looking for jobs. We want just a means to survive, and then just one person has this lots of money in her house. I think it's not fair. We are all Ghanaians. Yes, the money is questionable. She needs to come out to talk more about it. I mean, she needs to justify why she has such an amount of money in the house. And then I keep asking myself, so if this is in the house, then how much is in the bank? And then we are here each and every year, 4 years, we go voting for same people to come. I don't think the politicians, they are different. Same people come, same people go. It's questionable. Over the weekend, I've been thinking about it, and it's crazy. Oh yes, it's going to affect. It is really going to affect, because over the weekend, I've had discussion with few colleagues and friends of mine, and it seems because of this, even not because of this, even before this issue, they've decided not to vote. They've decided not to even enter into politics or talk about it. But then this one too came in, then it's affirming their decision. Yeah, so I think it's really going to affect. How to curb it, I don't know, because Ghanaians are fed up. Let me say, majority of us are fed up. Today, this, tomorrow, that, and we are not seeing any improvement. I was talking to someone over the weekend, and the person mentioned, since we heard that the IMF funds have been released, we've not heard any development, we've not heard of anything going on, and then this scandal just comes up. It's crazy, so I don't think it's going to be kept.
Let me take you now to Parliament, where today, although Parliament is in sitting, members of Parliament who've managed to come around have been talking about this. I want to bring in parliamentary correspondent Kweku Asante, who joins us right now. Kweku, some of the MPs are demanding more than just an arrest of the former minister. Why?
Exactly, Evans. And some of them gotten exactly what they wanted. I've heard from Yusuf Suleiman, MP for Bolibamboy, who said that their side in Parliament were demanding the searching of the house of Madam Cecilia Dapa. The OSP is exactly doing that now. But the generality of the concerns that have been expressed, especially by the NDC minority MPs who are vocal about this, given that their colleagues in the majority are a little bit silent on this issue, they say that they want the investigation to go on speedily. They want some outcome, some resolution, some answers in the coming days. They don't want just mere arrest without more. And they're expecting that in the coming days, the OSP will brief us properly in terms of what exactly has been achieved with this investigation. So we can listen to the NDC MPs, particularly Yusuf Suleimana, Murtala Mohammed, and Dr. Clement Apak, making this demand.
Given the circumstances, which of course has agitated the minds of Ghanaians, to discover this quantum of money stolen by house helps in the house of a public servant raises a lot of questions. And so Ghanaians are eager to find out, one, the source of the money, and whether legitimate or not. And secondly, how such big amounts of money could be doing in somebody's residence when we have banks. And as you know, we have rules in this country. I don't know any bank that would allow for anyone to withdraw $10,000 without an alarm being triggered. So to find out that over $1 million had been stolen, over 300,000 euros and several millions of Ghana cedis raises a lot of questions. So it's not just about arresting her, but Ghanaians expect agility from the special prosecutor to get to the bottom of these issues so that we know the source of the money. Because we are in need. The country is broke. We cannot pay capitation grants. Special needs schools have not received feeding grants since January. And so, yes, we want to know the source of the money. If it is our money, it should be made available to us, retrieved with interest.
Because they do not need to be petitioned before they can commence investigation into the matter. But you see, Machiavelli says that human beings are greedy of wants and needy of gains. As long as you shower your blessings upon them, they are all yours. And I do know that they may shower their blessings upon some people within society, and you find them desperately defending it.
Well, from Parliament, I want to take you to the NPP headquarters. Samuel Mbura just returned from the party's headquarters. Executives there have taken out the former sanitation minister's name from the party's election committee. Samuel is with me in the studio now. Samuel, just last week when they announced a list of members of the election committee, she was part, wasn't she?
Exactly, Evans. The General Secretary, Justin Frimpong Kodia, after the National Council meeting last week, mentioned her among 9 others, including Professor Mike Aaron Okwe, Abankwa Yeboah, Alexander Afenyo Markins, Professor Emmanuel Fuli, Philip Kwesi Nkrumah, Rita Talata Sobaire, Efwaja Chiwa, Evans Nemako, William Yamwa, as members of the Elections Committee of the NPP to supervise the Superdelegates Congress and the main Congress in November.
The National Council also approved of the Elections Committee to supervise the one electoral college, the special electoral college, and also the November 4th presidential primaries. And the committee is chaired by Right Reverend Professor Mike Aaron Okwe, with Mr. Abankwa Yeboah, Honorable Cecilia Dapa, Evans Nemako, and Lydia Yamwa as secretary to the elections committee.
Do we have any explanation why her name is now missing? Because clearly from that inset, her name was in there.
I tried engaging the General Secretary. He says that we should take the latest statement from the party as official communication. Spokesperson for the Elections Committee, Alexander Afenyo Markins, also did not explain the reasons. Cecilia Binadapa.
But what's the latest list? What's the revised list?
So the revised list, we don't have... Yes, same people minus Cecilia Abinadapa. So the number has trimmed from 10 to 9. The former sanitation minister was part of the list, those who are looking to supervise these elections, the upcoming Superdelegates Congress, and the main elections.
Please, excuse
but
me.
The latest report...
Excuse me.
Why? May we know why?
You have a list of... The party has given you a list, isn't it? Yeah. So what is your problem?
So what has happened? Because initially her name was part.
The party... Was there an official statement from the party? Was there an official statement from the party? I'm asking you. You said
it was an announcement at the National Council's meeting.
Do you have an official statement from the party to that effect?
It was an official communication from the General Secretary.
Do you have it? Do you have it? The latest statement in time is what it is. Okay.
To go by the latest statement.
What else?
Joining me on the line right now is Samson Lada, Yenini colleague of mine here, a lawyer as well. Also joining me is Dr. Kojo Asante, Director of Advocacy and Policy Engagement at the Center for Democratic Development. He's also a member of the Anti-Corruption Coalition. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time here on Top Story. Samson, let me start with you. Investigators are searching her home as we speak. Why is her home a place of interest?
Well, I would have imagined that the search would have actually been conducted minutes after the investigative authorities became aware of the court documentation containing the 10 counts or 10 charges and the brief facts accompanying the charges, suggesting that this was money that was being stolen over a long period, and the couple were unaware until one day the husband, chanced upon one and subsequently discovered that the money was being taken away. Particularly that this was the period when the CD was just, doing really very badly, and we're all being urged, and you and I were being pleaded with to tell members of the public not to hoard dollars, because the system was that difficult. And I think at the time, $1 million would have actually made quite some significant, impact on the situation. So I would have expected that the search, if one has not been conducted earlier,
your call has been put on hold. Please wait.
If you do not do that, then there will be concealment of what may be there in a manner that will be difficult to trace. But the special prosecutor, more particularly, has powers, including the powers of police, and those powers, the law itself provides that the special prosecutor actually has powers to conduct searches in emergencies, and it says that where they suspect on reasonable grounds that a particular property is tainted property, or it will provide evidence as to the commission of an offense, or that it is necessary to exercise the power of search and seizure in order to prevent the concealment, loss, or destruction of property, or the circumstances are so urgent that the immediate exercise of the power without the authority of a warrant. That's the most important thing. Without the authority of a warrant or the order of a court is required, then they would do the search on a person or enter the premises and search the property. And if the property is found, seized, then the property should be seized. That's what the law says.
So in other words, you're looking possibly if there is more money in these two homes that you're searching.
Yes, because a home that is said to contain money that the owners themselves appear not to have a good sense of how much of it has been taken away, it's a crime scene. And the state, the OSP that is now doing this should be doing so if concealment or loss has not already taken place.
Yeah, and indeed, Elton just confirming to me that she hasn't been officially charged yet. Something, stay with me. Let me bring in Dr. Kojo Asante. Dog, I know anti-corruption campaigners have been calling for the special prosecutor or for some other state agency to step in. Tonight, she's been arrested. Her home's being searched. Good move?
Yeah, I think that's the only way to get to the bottom of this matter. And good evening to everybody. Yeah, I think without it, then of course it stays in the realm of speculation. But I think there was enough red flags. It's interesting. Well, I mean, it's not interesting, but it seems to be a common pattern that is only when there is a public exposure of some of these red flags that we actually get action from state institutions. I mean, something was right that at the time when the matter happened, if the police had gone into the place and somebody had told you that somebody has stolen these amounts of money, $1 million, 300,000 euros, and all of the other things, any policeman going there will be asking, who is this person? What do they do that they are having all this money and is being stolen? That itself would have raised all kinds of investigations. Apart from the fact that you sympathize with the person and the fact that it's a victim of theft. But because of the position of the person, that would have raised a lot of red flags. The fact that none of us knew about this or there wasn't any further investigation until the evidence in court suggests that, the system still doesn't have triggers and the motivation for, dealing with these things in a preventive manner to make sure that people know what kinds of behaviors that there should be in public service. So it's come out now, and I think the right action is taking. The investigations would uncover whatever we are all trying to understand. How was this money earned? And is it legitimate or not, and so on and so forth. And I'm sure we'll get to the bottom of that very soon.
And something she hasn't been charged, but under the OSP Act, what is the OSP allowed to slap her with?
Well, I think the OSP's powers are quite extensive because once under the current law, there are ports of offences that are given to the OSP for politically exposed persons, including, procurement breaches, including, corruption offences under the criminal code, and, other offences. So they will begin to look at what the evidence is generated. But at this point, I think just the unexplained wealth, the suspicion around it that this might have been acquired illegally is what is moving on. But it could be tax fraud or any kinds of other kinds of offences that might come up. And if the OSP's mandate doesn't cover it, then some other agency can come in, including the FIC or any of the other agencies like EOCO and so on and so forth. So, we don't know, and I'm sure we'll hear more as the investigations go on.
And something on the subject of declaration of asset, now that we know the OSP is actively involved there, do you expect the OSP to be reaching out to the Auditor General, coordinating possibly with Stride also on this, on sealing what she declared and then comparing it with what we now know she possibly has, considering what her answers will be about how she came by that money?
I imagine the OSP would have begun the steps already, especially that, as you have reported, they have spoken to Madame Cecilia Dapa and the husband, and they seem to want to be mentioning other people or suggesting that the money may belong to someone else or belong to a group of people. They would bring in people, including maybe the immediate family, if they are being mentioned as having a stake in it. The funeral kind of scenario, that kind of joke. If they will bring in all of that, then it is important to know a few things. If you look at the 10 counts, which have been amended once, amended twice, amended on the 5th, and amended on the 20th, you will see that all the 10 counts, 9 of the counts show that what is missing is her property. It is only one count which the property is attributed to the husband, and that is his kente cloth and suits, the stuff that were picked, and the value of it. But the money, they state on the charge sheet without any equivocation, categorically, that they are her property. And the Constitution in Article 286, Clause 4 is very clear. For as long as what it is that is found, there's no sufficient explanation to show that the money is reasonably attributable to her income, what she has been earning, is attributable to a gift that she may have gotten, or a loan, or an inheritance, or any, reasonable source of income, then the OSP is expected clearly to use the asset declaration to make this particular determination that the money was acquired, or the property is acquired in contravention of the law. And in that respect, the OSP has a 3-pronged mandate: investigate, recover, and also to take steps to prevent. So it will then recover.
Interesting times indeed. And very quickly, Dr. Santa, you expressed the skepticism about the timing of the search and what it will yield. Many share that view as well. But also, if you look at the timing of this, we learned about this Friday morning, the weekend then elapsed. On Monday, there's action. The OSP, many will suggest, has done what they could reasonably do under the circumstances. This is the best we can expect. Or you disagree?
No, so my reference to the timing of the search was, when the actual incident took place, which was now a year ago, I believe, right? That when the police went in to investigate this matter, that the circumstances surrounding it would have raised other issues, but that didn't happen until the evidence presented in court, kind of gave it some public exposure and brought the matter into the public domain. So as for the OSP's actions now, that is exactly what you expect to happen. But I was referring to when it happened. So yes, certainly the actions that have happened, and I suspect also that Madam Sigadapa is already, I think, right from the beginning, is cooperating with the authorities. There doesn't seem to be any resistance to sort of trying to establish the truth around what has happened. So I think that is good. It helps us all to sort of get to the bottom of the matter, and if there are offences that have been committed, then the appropriate laws would apply.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kojo Asante with the CDD. Samson Ladi Ayenini is a lawyer. If you're just joining us, top story this hour, two homes of the former Sanitation and Water Resources Minister, Madam Cecilia Dapa, is tonight being searched by officers of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Also, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, from what our sources tell us, is expanding the investigations and will include a probe into close relations of the minister, and it may follow from answers that she may have given to investigators today after she was interrogated for up to 5 hours, in which she may have mentioned that the amounts were not necessarily hers and may also belong to some other family members, as our sources tell us tonight. We're also learning tonight that she hasn't been formally charged just yet, but the search is happening. We're keeping a close eye. Our sources there telling us a lot. We'll bring you the very latest as and when we know more from the search happening in her home right now. Newsnight starts now. In the next 60 minutes here on Newsnight, the verdict on Cecilia Dapa's legacy as Sanitation and Water Resources Minister. On the day she was arrested and her home searched, following revelations she kept $1 million and several bundles of other currencies in her home.
I'll give her 50 over 100.
I can't give him 35%.
But for this place particularly, I will rate her with 30 over 100.
We'll hear from industry players as they assess her performance over the period. Also tonight, MPP's election committee postpones balloting for positions after 9 presidential aspirants launched fierce resistance, demanding modalities from committee before they will participate in the process.
By the grace of God, the engagement ended successfully and fruitfully. We are going to have a meeting on Wednesday.
In business, Bank of Ghana signals intention to continuously hike the policy rate to help contain threats to inflation outlook.
In sports, former Black Stars defender John Pinto believes Asante Kotoko made the right decision to reappoint Prosper Ogum as head coach.
And later, fresh evidence emerged in alleged police brutality in Dagomba line in the Ashanti region as autopsy report reveals victim had massive blood in his abdominal cavity.
When you enter the police station, you can see that a lot of damages, destroying properties in the police station, destroying the meter and other stuff. So the reason is that they are accusing the police that the police have killed their friend.
I want to stay with us for more tonight here on Newsnight. I will also take your views and comments, 055-1111-997. Details after this short break.
Credits where you get up to 20% of your money back before. Like I tell you about Vodafone's demo promo. See, anytime you recharge a demo, you get up to 20%, whether it be short code or your Vodafone cash wallet, or you don't use credit transfer to your number or someone else. And now you be high tech, so you don't use my Vodafone app or any payment app. However you do, Vodafone go send you up to 20% cash back. Into your Vodafone cash account. We'll reload it, but then you enter. Top up your airtime with 5 Ghana cedi or more in Vodafone's demo promotion and receive 20% of your money back straight into your Vodafone cash wallet. Recharge and cash out in the Vodafone demo promotion.
Vodafone, further together.
I've got Bell back and I won't let go.
My name is Nana Brown. Many people think I get what I want anytime because I am popular. No, that is not true. It is because me and Kasano, I like the best, and when I find it, I stick to it. I have found Bell Pack Tea Roll, and I'm stuck with it. It is soft but not weak, strong but not hard. It is just perfect. Bell Pack Tea Roll is smooth and gentle on the skin. Same as Bell Pack Kitchen Towel. It cleans in one wipe. You can soak, squeeze, and clean again. One Bell Pack kitchen towel lasts longer and saves you money. It's time you switch to Bell Pack today and experience the perfect paper tissue. Say pocket tissue, table napkins, tea roll, and a kitchen towel. Paper chow. Bell Pack is simply the best. Bell Pack, just perfect.
To be a Bell Pack distributor, call 055-11-44400. Another quality product from Bell Aqua.
Nothing feels so good like Bell Pack.
It's alive here on Newsnight. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. Still ahead here on Newsnight. Talingsi farmers plead with the government to fix dry dams that cannot retain water after January.
You will not even recognize the site as a dam. I planted in the first year and the water dried up, so my plants died.
And later,
Look into my eyes, what do you see? I'm not talking about love, cause
Trigan crowned winner of the Making Joy Prime's Cues and Lyrics music show after 12 weeks of a competition filled with glitz and glamour.
To be very honest with you, this is one of the best written songs I've ever heard. Because
you want to stay with us for that and more here on Newsnight, but let's stay with that breaking news story. It's been breaking all day and developing still. And tonight, we are looking at Cecilia Dapa's tenure as Sanitation Water Resources Minister, and she's been minister for close to 5 years. Her tenure came to a crashing end when she was forced to resign on Saturday following the revelation she kept $1 million and several bundles of other currencies in her home. Investigators have been searching her home tonight. She was arrested today and together with her husband were interrogated for hours by the special prosecutor. The monies came to light in court documents filed by state prosecutors who were prosecuting Cecilia Dapa's house helps for allegedly stealing the amounts. Well, as the controversy rages on, we have been looking back on her speaking on her tenure as minister, speaking to ordinary Ghanaians on what they make of this situation and her achievements as a minister. Michael Ashali has the rest of the story.
In 2018, President Akufo-Addo appointed Cecilia Dapa as Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources. In 2021, she said she was very close to realizing the president's dream.
I will give it 85% because at the end of the day, you all saw the 100% we did during the lockdown.
A drive through Accra on a Sunday showed heaps of filth begging to be collected.
I see the environment. The environment is good, so our country is clean. I'll give her, that's 50 over 100.
I can't give him 35%.
But for this place particularly, I will rate her work 30 over 100 because almost all the places I go within this area, it's like it's dirty. It looks very unkempt.
We are currently in the ministry's enclave that houses most of the ministries part of government. Specifically, we are right in front of that of the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources, the office where the former embattled minister Cecilia Dapa worked from. It's expected that from Monday, July 24th, another individual will take over from the office. For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
Well, let's dig more into this. Michael joins me in the studio right now with a bit more. We know she took office in 2018 and since then has been working to improve that's water, sanitation, hygiene conditions in the country. A few indicators to look at in measuring what she's done. Tell us more.
So, Evans, one of the things we can use to measure the work that she could have done, what she was supposed to do, was the Ghana Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey. One of them was released in 2011, and at the time, one of the biggest wars that they had to fight was open defecation. So we know that in the urban area, we had about 11.4% of the population in urban areas that were practicing open defecation, and in rural areas, we had 30.6%. Years down the line, in 2017-2018, when another survey was released to that effect, and this was released not long ago, like 2022, for the year 2018-2017, that of urban population reduced in terms of open defecation from 11.4 to 9.9%, and then that of rural rather shot up from 30.6 to 35.2. More recent indicators from the United Nations for Ghana, we know that the country has done well in water, with 88% of the people accessing basic service.
And then 42 assessing safely managed water, far behind the global average of 74%, but higher than the sub-Saharan average of 30%. Now, in this UN report, they said that the sanitation situation in Ghana is very poor, with only 25% having access to basic services, about 57% using shared or public facilities, and 18% still defecating in open defecation. You have poor sanitation conditions, poor serious, you know how that really links together.
But she also made some great progress when it came to expanding potable water coverage across the country generally.
Yes, Evan. So we saw the numbers really improve. Now, during her tenure, water coverage was expanded. Almost 96.4% of the urban population have access to basic water supply services, while 74.4% of the rural populace have access to basic water supply services, Evans.
And that's according to the Sanitation and Water for Organization. So that area was a positive for her in terms of the work that she did there. But some have questions still.
Yes, Evans. So if you take the Auditor General's report done on COVID-19 expenditure alone, you'd realize that many questions were asked. Now, to give you the bit that was mentioned here, and if you go to page 83, you'd see a table that talks about some questionable expenses that her ministry had done. Now, they have spent a total of 18 million Ghana cedis, most of which was given to one parent group. So you have the Zoom Lion Ghana Limited listed there. And 5 of those transactions that were flagged. The first one was an emergency cleanup exercise in the Greater Accra metropolitan area. Again, that was given to the contractor Zoom Lion Ghana Limited. An amount of 2.98 million Ghana cedis was given to them. Again, emergency cleanup exercise in the Greater Kumasi metropolitan area. That is another 2.76 million Ghana cedis. Then same company, Zoom Lion Ghana. And a third transaction I was given to Zoom Lion again, the emergency cleanup exercise in 14 regional capitals. And that amounted to 5.64 million Ghana cedis.
And what did the Auditor General say about these amounts?
So, in some of those transactions, he had said that they had awarded these funds or giving back these monies to this company without having done due diligence. Now, the absence of performance bonds does not provide assurance to the ministry for compensating in the event of failure in the part of the contractors or the vendors to perform their part of the contract obligations. That's what they are told them.
Okay, so very interesting details about what she's done over the years. Done great work in terms of expanding water coverage, but in terms of the sanitation situation, the filth situation, that it remains a major challenge still. And then the issues that the Auditor General had also unearthed in the investigations that they've done over the period. I want to bring in a man who works very closely with her and with this in this particular sector. Is a former executive director of the Coalition of NGOs in Water and Sanitation, CONIWAS. Patrick Apoya joins us right now on the telephone line. Patrick, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. So how would you assess her tenure?
Good evening, and thank you for talking to me. I think you guys have already touched a lot on the positive side and also the downside. The little I can only add is to agree with the improvement in the water coverage, and then beyond the water coverage, I think a significant improvement is actually in the way she was able to work with Ghana Water Company Limited to reduce what we call non-revenue water from over 52% before she came in to currently just about 40%. If you understand what that means, even though it is just 12 percentage points, it is just a human's achievement. It is something that the country has never been able to achieve. Even when we brought in the international management contractor, Aqua Vitens Run. How she has been able to work with Ghana Water Company Limited, give them the free hand to innovate on how to deal with it, and then the management of Ghana Water Company Limited taking the opportunity and dealing with it. I think it's one of the things that we will remember her for. And then also bringing the Water Company Limited to a level that they are able to survive on their own IGF, to even invest some on their own in a water treatment system, which is costing over 30 million, 40 million, 50 million cedis. Unlike previously when a donor did not give money, then there's nothing we could do. I think that also is a plus for her. Ghana's water sector was almost there when it came to the international scene. Political representation in many events was missing. And when you're not visible at that level, nobody takes you serious. I think that was also a trend she was able to reverse. That Ghana started becoming the darling boy of the international community again. And international community, whether it is AMCAO or the Sanitation and Water for All initiative or WHO initiatives, a lot of interest was coming to Ghana again, and all that will contribute to making the sector active. I would say these are some positive sides. And also within home, a sector that you have so many stakeholders working across interests, but she managed to bring everybody together. The sector working group, which was there, she was able to revive it. So donors, NGOs, private sector started to meet regularly again. And that is the only way we can align our efforts in order to reduce the duplication. So the water coverage you're talking about is not just about what government alone did. It's also about what the small water enterprises, which she actually supported and boosted, also contributed.
But many people...
when it comes to some of her downsides, there are also a lot.
And one of them, many people will judge her based on the pronouncements made by the president himself when he had declared that he wants to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa. And she took on the burden of implementing that. And people still look around and see the filth and say she's failed. Is that a fair conclusion for people to come to?
I wouldn't say it is fair, but the truth remains that Accra has not become the cleanest city in Africa. It's not as if as soon as you announce, you jump to the street and start cleaning and sweeping and clearing the rubbish and going to throw away. No. It involves setting up institutions that will ensure that on a daily basis and forever, any waste generated has a way it is collected, it is disposed, at a way that you are not coming back to government all the time to look for money. So you need to set up a lot of institutions. One of the cardinal things was to set up the National Sanitation Authority, which was to work on the financing and supporting the assemblies that are currently very weak to be able to deliver on that, because it's not the minister that is going to deliver the service. It's the municipal assemblies. And so far, these assemblies are just underfunded. People just think they have to clean, but nobody is worried about where they're getting the money from, where they're getting the resources from. They have to work with private sector, but their role in coordinating all that is very expensive. So working all that was the National Sanitation Authority, which was supposed to call the National Sanitation Fund. Then all the building blocks have been put in place. I will give her credit for that. But I think where she failed was how to work around the politics within cabinet itself to get this approved as quickly as possible so that we can achieve what we want. And I also think getting the politics of the budgeting process, I think we lost out completely when it came to the national budget. A time came when we even thought the finance minister was intentionally working against her and intentionally underfunding the sector so that she would fail. That was what some of us in the sector thought. But it's about how you also play your game when it comes to pushing for your share of the national budget. This is not an issue that donors will finance. And it is not an issue that you just go with the routine budget that you are given to tackle. So yes, even though she did all her best and put all those things in place, the fact that we ultimately couldn't get finance to release the needed budget to the assemblies and to the ministry to actually put the icing on the cake, definitely she'll have to take responsibility for it.
She scored herself.
But it will be not too fair to say because we are still seeing filth. She did nothing at all.
She scored herself 85%. What would you give her now that her tenure has come to an end?
No, I will give her what she has achieved. I will give her 65%. The money will just make about 30% or 40%, because even with money, if you don't have the right systems, the right institutions, and the right approaches, you can't make it. So with 65% achieved, if we work hard, the remaining 45% in the next 4 or 5 years, we should be able to achieve it.
And Patrick, just before you go, definitely we will need a substantive minister now, a new minister for water resources and sanitation. What are you looking for in the next minister?
The next minister will be somebody who will be able to carry the sector along, to provide the kind of leadership that this one provided. I think that's one thing that we'll miss her. We don't need a minister that comes with their own agenda and decides to set aside everything and start something new. We also look at a minister who understands how to work with the Minister of Finance better and know how to also lobby and get their fair share of the national cake. This is where the sector has always been lacking. And I believe that the next minister, if we pray hard and we get the right person, we should be able to make it.
Thank you very much. That's Patrick Apoya there, former executive director of the Coalition of NGOs in Water and Sanitation. Many of you are joining us with your thoughts on this story developing across the day. This one from Joe Unyangpanduru says, Evans, the search conducted at the Cecilia Dapa's residence is a charade, to say the least. The theft happened about a year ago, and I don't think the police expect her to still keep the money in the house. Mauli says this search is a charade as well. How long has the money been missing from the minister's house? And how long did it take to get into public domain? Over a year ago, right? You think the rest of the money will be in the same house? Abena, well, this is Abuchi Philip from Keta says, I personally think that MPP is not a serious party. They are not serious. The sanitation minister who stepped down, yet MPP has nominated her as an election committee member. Keta Port needs rehabilitation. Well, as you know, today that list came out again, and that list has been revised. Her name has been omitted. You're still listening to News Night. It's on Joy 99.7 FM, and this is your election headquarters. Well, balloting for positions in the MPP flag bearership race has hit a snag, a major one indeed, and postponed to next week. This follows fierce resistance from 9 aspirants who are demanding the election modalities be spelled out by the Elections Committee before they will participate. However, there was no consensus after nearly 3 hours of a closed-door meeting leading to the postponement of the balloting. Spokesperson for the Elections Committee, Alexander Fanyomarking, said they will meet the aspirants next week to address the grievances.
We do not have any petition. We haven't received any petition. We've had an engagement with representatives of aspirants. By the grace of God, the engagement ended successfully and fruitfully. We are going to have a meeting on Wednesday. When we're done with the meeting, I will brief you. So far, so good. This is a family affair. This is a family affair. Everything is going well. We are so far happy with processes, and the guidelines have been laid out. And it's not going to be the first time MPP is going to have an internal contest.
Samuel Mbura is with me in the studio. You've been at the party's headquarters today. Who are the 9 aspirants?
With the exception of Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, we know there are 10. So the 9 minus Baumia.
Alan Chamanting obviously is part of this. What are their demands?
So their demands are quite clear. They want the election process to be a level playing field for all of them to play. They are suspecting that there will not be transparency in the elections, and they want the elections committee to spell it out clearly so that anyone who goes contrary would be hauled before the elections committee. We know even before the National Council came out with this verdict as to whether the election should be centralized or decentralized, these 9 aspirants petitioned the council demanding that the election should be centralized. And the information I'm picking is that it is on the back of the National Council not heeding to their demands, a reason they want to use this one as an opportunity to squeeze the balls of the elections committee.
But this is just balloting. This is just determining who is first, who is second, who is last on the ballot. You've been speaking to some of them.
Exactly. They wouldn't speak.
What's the point of resisting this when it's just about determining your position on the ballot paper?
They wouldn't speak to me on record, but what they are saying is that they just want the modalities to be spelled out. But the details of the modalities, they wouldn't say, because they told me they have been told by the elections committee not to engage the media further.
You've been there today all day. What was the atmosphere like? I believe possibly they would have come with your supporters. Was it as charged as last week when people came there to protest?
It wasn't a charged atmosphere. It was just a normal business that the party carried out. Just that the posture of the aspirants, or the aspirant representatives of the aspirants, was that of a disappointment, because they were expecting that the party will listen to their grievances and then they will also arrive at a consensus with them. Then they cannot get into the balloting, and subsequently the official poll of notice would be published by the party.
Deputy General Secretary of the party, Haruna Mahama, just joins us right now on the telephone line. Mr. Mahama, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. Do you have a clear understanding when the aspirants, the 9 of them, say they want modalities spelt out, what they actually want, because that presumes that you went into today's balloting and they didn't have the details as to how the balloting was going to happen.
Thank you very much. Good evening to your cherished listenership. I think that the spokesperson for the Elections Committee, in the person of Honorable Anthony Martin, has spoken on this position of the committee. The party seized the opportunity to put together the Elections Committee headed by Right Reverend, Right Honorable Professor Mike Kwao. And today they were inaugurated and then they started their maiden meeting, which resulted to them calling on the aspirants or their representatives for balloting. We did understand that the balloting did not take place, but however, the meeting has been fixed on Wednesday to address some of the issues. But with regards to the modalities for this election, I don't think that there is a candidate in this particular race who does not have the guidelines and rules that govern this particular election. In the forms that were sold to every aspirant, the guidelines are in that particular forms. Also, the timelines for all these events, like this balloting, was communicated officially in writing when we were in a simple by-election. The General Secretary wrote to revise the timeline, which included the date for balloting, which was today. So we have made available every little information that is supposed to be known.
Were you then surprised when you heard the demand?
However, we are in a democracy, and everybody has the right to make a point, and at any point in time, any committee that is seized with the opportunity to handle that will hear and determine. And this is a determination that will be made by the committee, but not the leadership of the party.
And I get a sense that this is coming from a place of complete breakdown in trust between the 9 aspirants and the party, and that's why they're pushing this. Last week, before the National Council meeting, they had, again on this show, complained about the lack of transparency in the process. Consistently, you're hearing complaints from the 9 aspirants that somehow there's a conspiracy to favor Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Is there a conspiracy to favor him?
Please, there has not been. I don't hear the aspirants say there has not been transparency.
Well, last week on the show, we heard a number of them. In fact, you were on as well. Yababi Asama makes the point that the process had to be transparent. They had to be involved in the cleanup of the register. They've said that.
My immediate boss, I did clear the air when you called me. I made clearance to all the issues that was raised by my immediate boss, who was the communication director, and I was the deputy communication director. So when I made the points very clear on your show, you were the host on that day, it brought to bear all the facts on the matter of this particular presidential election. And this bordered on register. That was the validation of the register. And I did indicate that the register validation started way before we opened the nomination for presidential primaries. And there was no any aspirant at that material point in time. And we did promise that we will make sure that we will make available every single document that is relevant to the organization of these primaries. And I think that we will stay on to that course. However, they not doing the balloting today would be done at the appropriate course as discussions are made by the leadership of the committee, and the date for such date has been made on Wednesday. And I believe that we will get to the bottom of this matter.
Thank you very much. That's the Deputy General Secretary of the MPP there, and I want to hear your view on that particular issue as well, if you have any. George Yafe is joining me right now with business. Right after George, I'll take you to Talent Seat, where farmers are pleading with the government to fix dry dams that cannot retain water after January.
You will not even recognize the site as a dam. I planted in the first year and the water dried up, so my plants died.
George Yafe here with business. Hello, George.
Hi, Evans. Coming up in business, Bank of Ghana signals intention to continuously hike the policy rate to help contain the rise in inflation rate after it increased the rate by 50 basis points today. And government rules out supplementary budget presentation as the Minister of Finance gets ready to present the media review of estimates that is this week. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Allianz Life and Ghana Pay.
Business a bit new to say. So the projections from the first quarter show a higher total gross profit for the fiscal year. A bit me kasa saying.
Nana, who's not land you? He did a port right.
A bit me to say.
Here are your items. Thank you for coming.
A bit me kasa saying.
Yes, 2 for 10 cedi, me no 10 cedi, 2 for 10 cedi.
However you do business, wherever you do business, MTN Business has a solution for you. Join us on 14th July at the Kumasi Mall and 28th July at the Rollins Park in Accra Central. To learn how to do more and stay ahead of the pack, visit mtn.com.gh/business or call or WhatsApp 0244 308111 for enquiries. It's time to scale up this July with MTN.
MTN.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHF, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
Luxurious affordable living is your right, and no one understands it better than BOT Properties. BOT Properties specializes in modern residential buildings and commercial office spaces. Our properties include the Equator, a 12-story made up of over 100 apartments near Accra Mall. Other Equator courts, we offer you the deluxe living experience with our top-of-the-range homes, high-quality homes built with style and precision to suit your lifestyle. The Equator Courts is a gated community with 2-story, 4-bedroom detached houses at Ogbojo, East Legon, near American House. Our office complexes include Zion House, Shiashi, East Legon, Zion House, Sofa Line Interchange, Kumasi. Our offices and apartments are for both rental and outright purchases at affordable prices and with flexible payment terms. Kindly contact us on 0257 960 919 or visit botproperties.com. BOT Properties, the new meaning of affordable luxury.
No matter your water needs, Syntex has it all. Syntex Tank was first to introduce double-layer tank, and now you can have as many layers as you want. Syntex Tank was first to introduce white inner layer tanks in Ghana, and now introduces the customer specs order, which will let you order any color and size you want. Syntex Tanks gives you the biggest warranty of 7 years, which no other tank gives you. So whatever your water consumption, size of project, or demand, choose Syntex Tank. Syntex Tank, stress-free. Syntex Tank, reliable. Syntex Tank, maximum guarantee. Call 0244 335 168, Kumasi 0505 555 666, or visit syntexgh.com. Syntex Tank, a strong, a tough. Do you know Flamingo Paint has superior properties than any other paint brand on the market? Listen, when you take 1 bucket of Flamingo Paint, it's equal to several buckets of any paint brand on the market. So, Flamingo has superior hiding properties, superior coverage, it means it covers, and superior durability. Flamingo Paint, superior hiding. Flamingo Paint, superior coverage. Flamingo Paint, superior durability. Flamingo Paint, simply superior.
sambisanda mo. Enti emrot ya no. Mu ho pa na tumi hwe na mo bodom pe mo ma na yakono.
Eye kwabna.
Na mu ho nso na tumi just mali me ma yene nyina de.
Eye kojo.
Enu kro. Kobre tumi hwe na bodom pe mo sense o yisu president eba. Ayede aban ne do braye. Bu si echi na mo ho ban na sem ma na ho de ne.
Sa.
Ani na kudwo nso yisu president chako. Na enu ne de e ma wo se wo ye kregen fita. Na watimi asiri bedwe ma na feel you.
Ey kojo. Sa.
Yeah. President eba and president chako. Afedie.
Ya kono natural.
FDIJ twadi nkato yatu.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Ernest Addison has indicated that the bank would take steps to hike the policy rate. It will help deal with inflation rate increases. The governor said this when the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana increased the policy rate today by 0.5%. There is more in this report.
The Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Ernest Addison noted that they want to take the required measures to ensure that gains made so far are not derailed or eroded.
You will continue to see policy tightening until we get inflation where we want it to be. But we also cannot look at it in isolation because monetary policy alone cannot deliver that. So we expect that the fiscal side of the work would also have to come in.
On the banking sector, the Bank of Ghana governor maintained that recovery made in the first quarter is being sustained. He also stated that most of the commercial banks have complied with its directive of purchasing armored bullion vans for transporting cash.
A lot of armored vehicles have been procured by the Ministry of Interior has to give approval for them to import. I've seen a lot of clearances from the Ministry of Interior, but we can get you the exact numbers from our currency department.
From the Ghana cedi, the Bank of Ghana governor noted that he expects the gains made to be sustained in the coming month. The governor also disclosed that they are working to publish their annual report by the end of this month. The public debt stock witnessed some significant jump from December to reach over $500 million in April, but the governor noted that it was mainly due to the recent depreciation of the Ghana cedi.
External debt component in cedi terms tended to increase significantly. And domestic debt only increased by about 11 billion cedis or so. So most of that, what you call a spike in public debt, was due to the exchange rate movement, especially in January.
The governor also revealed that, in terms of the economy, government expenditure and fiscal operations are largely within target.
And that is a Business Desk report. Now, government has ruled out a supplementary budget presentation when Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta appears before Parliament to present the mid-year review of estimates. Now, this is what Joy Business has picked up from persons with knowledge of the mid-year review. The 2023 mid-year review, we understand, is likely to focus on policies and programs aimed at entrenching the economic stability whilst promoting growth. Ghana's Financial Public Management Act requires the Finance Minister not later than July 31 of each financial year to appear before Parliament and update them on the numbers in terms of the fiscal situation with the first 6 months of each year. Now, sources say the numbers that the Minister will present will show that the economy is indeed showing signs of recovery. Now, more foreign airlines are eyeing the country's airspace to operate commercial services. That's according to the Deputy Commissioner of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, Daniel Akwa. However, he said most of these airlines do not meet the criteria necessary to attain the approval of the authority. He was speaking at an Aviation Safety Investigation Day celebration.
We have a lot more knocking on our doors to establish airlines, but the reality is that it is very expensive or capital intensive to establish an airline. And then the personnel required to be in the helm of affairs, according to the civil aviation regulations or directives, you need certain caliber of personnel. So we have all that criteria in our directives or regulations. So a lot knock on our doors. Maybe they have the money, but then when they come and then you spell out the rudiments of the game, they just fizzle out. Others too, because of the capital intensiveness of the industry, yes, they knock on our doors, you take them through the certification process, and they realize that, no, it is not like operating road transport system.
Deputy Commissioner of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, Daniel Agua. The amount of money the country secured from crude oil exports, taxes and other charges recorded some significant drop for the first half of this year. There is more in the following report.
An analysis of the petroleum reports from 2022 to this year showed Ghana's earnings dropped by almost $200 million to hit $540 million ending June this year. It is not clear for now, based on the data, what might have contributed to this decline. For instance, for the first half of this year, taxes paid by firms operating on the Jubilee and 10 fields stood a little over $186 million. However, this also dropped to $166 million for the first half of 2023. The report again showed that value of crude exports by the partners on the country's oil fields also declined significantly. The total amount of money that is currently left in Ghana's Stabilization Fund and Ghana Heritage Fund accounts in the Federal Reserve Bank in New York stands a little over $1 billion after going down by over $200 million.
And that is the business tax report to the stock market. If you've placed your investment in other shares on the market apart from those financial stocks, it has gone up by 17.46%. And that's all for Business on Newsnight. Back to you, Evans.
And George, we must say this. We are looking forward to the mid-year budget review presentation. The big question tonight is, when is it? This morning there was confirmation from Parliament that it was going to be tomorrow.
Yeah.
As of last week, Friday, it had been communicated to the House that was going to be next week, this week, Thursday.
Yeah.
And then the last few minutes is a bit more confusion whether or not it's going to come up or not.
We're still trying to get the firm confirmation whether it's indeed going to come on tomorrow or not even. So we would indeed update our listeners and viewers even.
George, thank you very much. It's still live here on Newsnight. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. I want to take you to the Talingsi district of the Upper East region now, where farmers in Kari and Gorogo are calling on the government to haul contractors back to fix their one village, one dams. Now, they say that the dams are too important to be abandoned in their current state. They want the basing of the dams deepened and the embankment walls firmed up and the area of the dam widened. Jojo Coburn has more in the Joy News Hotline documentary, Thirsty Dams.
We are not happy. We can't farm. Our land is just bare. We would have been farming during Christmas. You must repair the dam for us. We had no idea the dam would be constructed like this. We thought they would do a good job. We farm on this land we gave away for the dam. And we were excited because we hoped it will help us. They came here to help us by constructing the dam so that we can farm all year round and make money. But the dam dries up so fast. You will not even recognize the site as a dam. I planted in the first year and the water dried up, so my plants died.
The farmers say they will not count it as a loss if the government brings back contractors to reconstruct the dam.
We are waiting for the rain before we plant. Without rain, we can't plant. Where is the water that we will use to farm during the dry season?
This part of the story is called Waiting for Rain. The One Village, One Dam policy was meant to put an end to rain-fed agriculture. The government hoped that, just as people in Burkina Faso farmed all year round and even exported tomatoes to Ghana, people in the northern region would be able to do the same. Unfortunately, the people of Gorogo farm only during the rainy season. It is the main reason why the assemblyman for Gorogo, Roland Basama, is refusing to call the project a dam, and his reason is,
actually, we don't call this one a dam. This is a dugout.
The then Minister for Special Development Initiatives, Hawa Kumsin, briefed Parliament on how much had been allocated for one dam.
Averagely is 250,000, so it varies. It's from between 230 to 250,000. The highest is the 250,000.
Later, the minister explained why the dams constructed were smaller.
Then look at the cost, 250,000 Ghana cedi. 250,000 Ghana cedi. If you are constructing a mini full dam, you don't need anything less than $3 million. So if I'm constructing 250,000 Ghana dam, then what kind of dam are you expecting from me?
Well, it has emerged after an extensive research led by the Northern Patriot in Research and Advocacy that tracked 285 dams across the 5 northern regions and concluded that the state paid more than 250,000 Ghana cedis for one dam.
It is between 600,000 and 800,000 Ghana cedis per dam. But on the average, using the 285 dams that we tracked, we can give an average of 670,000 Ghana cedis per dam. And you know, the consultancy fee for the construction of the dams is over 10 million Ghana cedis. That's for the consultant. So many actors or players were into this.
Why has the state spent over 600,000 cedis on a dam and yet constructed an ineffective dam? Joy News has cited a contract letter given to Fourth Man and Cross Construction Limited. The contract sum is 520,000 Ghana cedis for 2 dams in the Garu constituency of the Upper East region. Figures shared by NOPRA showed that an amount of 243,291 Ghana cedis was released for one, and 433,569 Ghana cedis payment was released for another. We sought answers from the Special Development Initiative Office for further clarification.
Well, Joy News met the coordinator of the Special Development Initiative on Friday, 21st July 2023, but the coordinator declined an interview. She explained that she would allow an interview another time. She promised a document detailing the payments made for each dam will be sent to Joy News. Unfortunately, Joy News has not received the document.
And indeed, the full documentary is at 8:30 p.m. on the Joy News channel. You can catch it across our social media platforms as well. You are live here on News 90s on Joy 99.7 FM. We can do some sports now. The Monday after the weekend when we beat Arsenal in the USA. Just been joined by Daniel Krante, who is smiling, knowing that we are, perennial, what do you call them, preseason champions. Only to start the season, and we're possibly win a cup, and then we start struggling. But what do you have in the headline?
I'm glad you finished off that way. Let's do some sports news. And former Black Stars defender John Pinto says Asante Kotoko has made the right decision to reappoint Prosper Ogum as their new head coach. The 45-year-old makes a return to the club after stepping down before the start of the 2022-23 season, following a successful first stint with the club. Ogum won the Premier League title with the Porcupine Warriors in his only season at the club, but disagreements with the club's board over certain decisions led to him resigning from his role. According to Pinto, rehiring him will make Kotoko competitive again next season.
I think Ogum is doing so well. He started from Wafa. We all saw what he did. Came to Kotoko, he won the league, and he built a very good structure over there with his players. Also with his philosophy and his understanding of the game. I think the supporters were behind him. The players were behind him. That's why I always said never close doors, because he left the door open for him that he can come in anytime. So now the time has come for him to come again. He has a history with the club, very good one. But repeating history sometimes is difficult. But I think he's a coach with his words, which he believes in his ability. And we all know that when it comes to coaching, he's doing very, very well. And I have full confidence that, I believe Coach Ogum is ready to go for the tasks that are ahead, because he knew Kotoko is Kotoko. Kotoko is a demanding club. So when you're going, you prepare.
You had former Black Stars defender John Pinsel speaking there, bringing an end to sports. Brought to you by Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal. Pepsodent, every smile matters.
But you know, my favorite story today is about Kylian Mbappe. Oh my goodness, the amounts being mentioned in
For
Saudi
just
Arabia for one
season.
It was $700 million a year.
Yeah, just for one season.
Woo!
It's crazy.
That is.
What would you have done if you were in his shoes?
I will bite off your hand and take the money. I'm taking this every day of the week and twice on Sunday. I'm not thinking twice. Forget about me being my prime. I'm going to Saudi Arabia for $700 million. In fact, I'm going to play a season, and I'll play another season. When my 5 years are over, I'll beg for 5 more years.
I absolutely love your thinking.
Goodness me. Why is he even think? He
should have been there by now.
Who should I kill for this?
I'll give your number to Sheikh.
Please. I'll just be the ball boy.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
I just want 0.1% of 700 million dollars. Yeah. Thank you very much, Daniel Cranting. It's still live here on the News 90s on Joy 99.7 FM. I want to take you to the Ashanti region now, where an autopsy report has revealed a 32-year-old man who was allegedly killed by police on Sunday died as a result of massive blood in his abdominal cavity. The report says he also suffered splenic rupture and blunt force trauma. The deceased, Slahedin Tafipe, died after he was allegedly manhandled in a police swoop at Dagoma line in Kumasi. Now, some youth of Asokore Mampon earlier today vandalized the Sawase police station following the alleged killing. Nana Yaojima was at the burial service for the deceased and filed this report.
The death of Slahadin Tafilu on Sunday evening led to an attack on Asawase police station by some irate youth. Family members and residents, many of whom had witnessed the dying moments of the young man, shed tears as the remains were being moved to burial grounds.
He stood close to me here. When we heard of the swoop, he attempted to flee, but they arrested him. Immediately he fell to the ground. The policeman kicked him before he was dragged from here, and later went to where they had left him to pick him up. I then left to inform his parents of what had happened.
Youth in the area, infuriated by the incident, followed the police to the Asawase police station, where they pelted stones at the police station. Jalil says they wanted the police to return to the scene for the body of the deceased, which they had abandoned.
We went to the police station to call them for the body they abandoned here. We wanted them to come pick him as evidence to the crime they have perpetrated.
The youth claim this is the second time an individual has been killed in a police swoop. They want the government to call the police to order.
We want government to know we respect the police. This is why we can't fight them. We plead with government to call them to order.
Distraught family of the deceased wants the youth to exercise restraint as the police investigate the matter. Aziz Yaya speaks for the family.
There are some brothers they beat the boy, others demand that. So a lot of stories. By I sure with my negotiation with the commanders, I think we have a good news because I believe in him as our original commander.
For Joy News, Nana Ansah reporting.
Let's stay in the Ashanti region now on this particular story today, which has set that community against the police there and bring in the head of the District Security Council, who is joining us right now with thoughts on this particular matter. Kennedy Kankam is the Municipal Chief Executive of Asawase, on the line with us right now. Thank you, sir, for your time here on Newsnight. Are you any closer to getting clarity on what precisely happened leading to the death of this gentleman?
Yes, thank you very much. But let me make this quick correction before I proceed. I'm a chief executive for Ansah Kwao IV Municipal Assembly. Asawase is the parliamentary democratic name for the area. But when it comes to the local government area and local government terms, this place is Ansah Kwao IV Municipal Assembly. And Asawase is constituency of the same area. But we share the same boundary. Everything that is in Asawase constituency, the same in the Ansah Kwao IV Municipal Assembly.
I appreciate it. On the subject, though, any clarity on what happened?
Well, when issues like this happen, it takes some time before investigation can unravel a lot of things that the information and the briefing that I'm getting, I think as a municipal chief executive, I will not hesitate to come out with any terms until I get the full investigation from the appropriate officers. Because the police is involved in this issue, I think there should be an independent investigation for us to ascertain the truth about the whole thing than to rush and draw conclusion about the whole incident.
And when you say independent investigations, you are looking at the police doing it, you will be setting it up, or the ministry? What are you looking at?
Most of the time, rely solely on the police. Most of the time, rely on the police CID and police intelligence to get most of the information that we have. But in this issue, because the police is involved, I think we have the national security there, we have the Bureau of National Investigation and other things, other institutions there. And I also have my personal investigators who also do a lot of work at groundwork for me. So we will definitely fall on it, and in consultation with the minister we will see if we can come out with something different. I'm in consultation with my boss, the regional minister, and in this case, the regional coordinating council, and the local government and other things. So we come out with, I think, the appropriate body that can give us an independent investigation on the ground.
Thank you very much, Kennedy Kankam there. Still live here on Newsnight. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, amidst a dazzling display of talent and excitement that spanned over 12 weeks, Tregan claimed the title as the winner of the maiden Joy Prime Cues and Lyrics music show. Now, Tregan's remarkable prowess and artistry outshone all other contenders, leading to a resounding victory. Now, here are excerpts from the grand finale of Cues and Lyrics yesterday.
What do you do when you can't let go? A journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step.
The journey of Tregan to stardom began when she entered the competition.
Won't you stay with me? You think I'll leave you down when you're down on your knees?
The world is waiting for somebody like you.
Thank you. Tregan, whose full name is Tracy Theodora Nana Ansah Ekuban Hagan, was born on 21st August 1998 and has always been recognized for her energy and spirited nature.
My mama used to tell me, girl, it ain't that cool to see a man you love and start to act the fool.
After an intense 12-week competition filled with glitz and glamour, Tregan showcased remarkable prowess and artistry, earning her a well-deserved spot among the 4 finalists in the debut edition of Joy Prime's Cues and Lyrics music show.
Tregan. Hi. It got me worried because this is almost the end of the competition. I'm like, where am I going to put Tregan?
2 ladies, 2 gentlemen. Who makes it to the final? Next contestant to join the 2, it will be Tregan.
With unique stagecraft, Tregan soared above the 4 contestants and emerged as the ultimate winner.
To be very honest with you, this is one of the best written songs I've ever heard.
And your winner for the maiden edition of Cues and Lyrics, Tregan!
And congratulations to Tregan. And I'm already looking forward to the next season of cues and lyrics. You can catch all the highlights across our social media platforms. Joy Prime. Just look for it. And I'm pretty sure you'll be excited by the performances that we witnessed during the show last night. And that's it for News Night tonight. Just before we go, you want to stay because Nana Ansah Kwao is up next. And guess the topic. When Israel was in Egypt.